Yeah. What's going on, guys? How are y'all doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm
Doing
doing great, man.
good.
Doing good.
I say this a lot. This is one of my favorite parts of the job is to really get to come on and have awesome conversations. And so I'm super excited today that we are going to be joined by three members of our teen advisory board. And Caroline, right? Not it's not three advisory board members and Caroline. I didn't mean to sound like that, Caroline. Um, but no, I'm super excited. I think everybody that has ever watched any piece of PEDV's content by now, you guys know me. My name is Jeffrey Brown. I'm the Vice President of Development and Marketing for Partnership Against Domestic Violence. You guys are not here to talk to me today. You're here to talk to these awesome teens and Caroline, right? And so I'm going to just go quickly around and let you guys introduce yourself. So let us know what's your name and where are you in school, and what's your I mean, hold on, they don't do majors in high school anymore. So so where are you at school, and just something interesting about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the conversation. So Lily, you first. So again, your name, where you go to school, and something interesting about yourself.
I'm Lily. I'm at Hidea. I'm in 12th grade, senior season. Let's see what's something interesting. I have a dog who I adore. Her name's Claire, and I love her.
Hold on. So the interesting thing is the dog you adore, not the baguette light in the background?
Oh, yeah. I also have a lamp. She's made out of a real baguette back here. Yeah. I love her.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, thanks to Lily. So Indy, again, who are you? Where you go to school? It's something interesting.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm a junior attending Morrow High School, and something interesting about me is actually how I got to learn about the Teen Dating Advisory Board. It was actually from a friend that recommended it to me to apply when I was going through hard times. I really needed an inclusive environment within my community, and I thought, what better way would it be to join the advisory board? To make topics about teen dating violence very welcoming and comfortable for everyone to talk about.
Man, thanks, Indy. Like you really hit question two. So you and I are going to get along great if you're going to keep stealing my questions. But that's an awesome story, and I appreciate you kind of tying that all together. And we're super excited to have you, Suhas. Man, tell us who are you again? Who are you? Where you go to high school? Give us something interesting about yourself.
I'm Suhas Danthaluri. I go to high school at Northview High School. And something interesting about myself is I got my motorcycle permit somewhat recently, which is pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yo, okay.
Very cool.
Motorcycle permit. So is that I'm assuming motorcycle permit, same rules apply as a traditional learner's permit, right?
It's somewhat similar. You're not allowed to have a passenger, and you're not allowed to be on the highways. And beyond that, it's the same rules as a permit. So you can't be riding at certain times of the day, and you get less points on the permit compared to a full license. So.
Cool. So what year in high school are you?
I'm a senior.
So are we doing prom in the motorcycle?
Probably not. Probably that doesn't seem very safe.
Not good for the hair.
No, definitely
Hey,
not.
Man. Hey, I appreciate y'all. And Caroline, last but not least, who are you? Don't tell us where you obviously you're not in high school.
All good. Yeah. No, my name's Caroline.
Tell us who, what do you do for PADV?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Caroline Caulfield. I'm the dating violence prevention advocate with Partnership Against Domestic Violence. I've been with PADV since March of 2020, and I have the opportunity to work with teens, college students, and adults in our community and spread awareness about teen dating violence and teach young people about healthy relationships. And I've had the honor to work with the Teen Advisory Board ever since I started in this position. And yeah, I've just been really looking forward to today and being able to give everyone the spotlight.
Love it. So hey, so Indy already answered the question, but Suhas, Lily, same thing, man. So I'll start with Suhas, and then Lily, I'm going to bounce it over to you. Why did you guys decide to join the Teen Advisory Board?
Well, for me, it was during COVID. I feel like all of us, or during lockdown specifically, I felt like a lot of us sort of fell into that cycle of, not really doing much. That was a result of not being able to be in person and then not really having anybody to interact with to sort of keep you in the loop about, what's going on. And I just wanted to get out and do something, right? And so I spent a lot of time on the internet finding something that interested me and something that was close to my heart. And I came across PADV, which is, one of the oldest organizations in the state of Georgia dedicated to fighting domestic violence and dating violence. So I found that they had a teen dating violence advisory board, and I'm like, okay, this seems interesting. Maybe it's worth my time, and I feel like I'll be able to get that satisfaction of knowing that I'm doing something. So
come on, Suhas. I love it, man. So, hey, Lily, same question. What was it, man? Why did you join the advisory board?
I'll be honest. I just saw a listing for it, and then the second I saw it, I knew that this would be a thing for me because I'm super involved with working with underprivileged communities and also like women, and I just really love digging into something and really making a difference in my community. And yeah, I love it.
I love it, man. You guys so already, man. I'm super impressed with all of you. Caroline, can I ask you a version of that same question? Like, what is it about the advisory board that you really like working with?
Absolutely. So this was one of the most, when I first started in this role, I was nervous about meeting with teens. And, these are students who aren't doing this for any money. It's not part of any school organization. They're doing it because they're passionate about it, and that this is something that they want to learn about. Advocacy, so already I knew that these students were going to be incredibly wonderful and dedicated, and I've just really enjoyed getting to speak with them about different topics. They bring us knowledge, about what's it like in high school right now and what are the issues that are going on. And they've just been bringing their A game, showing up for projects and stuff. So I've really just enjoyed getting to have the experience of working with them on the advisory board.
I love it, man. Hey, so Indy, I want to bring you back in the conversation. And in your opinion, as you look at high school, as you look at your school and just the teenagers that you interact with on the day-to-day basis, and even the ones that you don't interact with on a day-to-day basis, right? Are you seeing dating violence being a big issue at your school?
I would say yes, because as a teen, it can be really challenging to navigate and understand the healthy sides of relationships, what's healthy and what's bad, about setting your boundaries, because it was something you've never experienced before. You're not sure what is right for you and maybe what's right for other people. And the only way for you to learn is for you to ask people and let people know your side of the story. And at most times, I think a lot of teens in my community were pretty shy into opening up about ourselves. Like, we're supposed to act a certain way, or show that we're confident, show that we don't need help from other people. So it's really hard for teens in my community to fully open up about themselves.
Thank you, man. And I promise you guys, I wouldn't just go round robin and ask you guys all the same questions, but I'm legitimately interested because each one of you guys represent different schools. And so I want to know, like, is this something, I hadn't been in high school in forever, right? Maybe not forever, but I don't remember having access to these conversations in high school. And I know we weren't talking about dating violence. And so you guys are so further ahead in being open and having these conversations. I want to talk to each one of you guys about it. But Lily, same question. Like, are you seeing dating violence and are you seeing dating violence at your school, and what's the conversations that are happening around it?
Well, I really agree with Andy. While I'm not necessarily seeing like physical violence at my school or in the communities that I'm surrounded by, I know that people are struggling with finding their identities and also finding like a space within a relationship. And again, like what Andy said, no one's really like perfect at relationships or knows what to do yet, because that's not something you can really teach. And I think that I've found that my school is pretty good at open dialogue about relationships and violence. I'm taking a class right now where we're exploring the cultural implications and in literature, and it's dealing with dating violence, and it's super cool. And I'm excited to be able to have these conversations with people at my
That's
school.
awesome. Suhas, man, bouncing it to you, man. Are you seeing, and then Caroline, I want to come back to you, because one of the things that I've noticed about this conversation is we've defined, or the teens have defined dating violence a very, very one way, right? We're talking about it from the physical perspective, and I want to bring you in here to talk about what dating violence has the capacity to look like outside of the physical. So Suhas, I'm gonna throw it to you, man. Are you seeing dating violence at your school, and what are the conversations that people are having around it?
Yeah, I mean, going off of what you said, I can't pretend that I know every bit of dating violence that's happening in my school, and I can't pretend that I see it every day. But you know, a lot of dating violence is right up here, right? You don't see that. You show up to school, you sit down in a classroom, you listen to your teacher lecture a little bit, but sometimes there's a lot of people that sit in the corner of the classroom that you have no idea what's going on in their lives. But you know, I've seen my fair share of toxic relationships in school, and I've, you know, talked to certain people, and I'm like, wow, there seems to be a lack of maturity here in some of these relationships. And while I can't attribute that to being dating violence, I can definitely say that it exists and it's a problem.
Man, let me, guys. So real quick, I want to let the Caroline. I told you I'd come to you with the next question, but I want to give the audience the space. One, can we just give a big round of applause to these young folks, man? Because again, I don't think I would have the capacity to have this conversation, right? Y'all can snap it up. I don't think I would have the conversation, the capacity to have this conversation when I was in high school. So the fact that you three are just so far advanced and able to articulate yourself and have this heavy conversation is flat out amazing. So kudos to you guys. And I also want to make sure that I open up the space to the audience to ask questions of the teenagers, right? Because obviously we know Facebook is not a space where teens are hanging out anymore. So parents, if you're watching, or as adults, if you're watching and you want to have that, you want to just ask a teen a question and you don't want to ask your own teen this question, I encourage you to, this is a safe space with the world watching, right? So feel free to ask the teens a question in the comment section, and I'll be sure to ask them that. So again, amazing conversation. Caroline, I want to give you the space to give us what the other forms of an unhealthy relationship or the other forms of dating violence that are not just physical. Suhas, you started on you started down that road. Caroline, I want to give you the space to kind of take us down the road of what other forms of violence looks like in an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So we define teen dating violence as a pattern of abusive and controlling behaviors that someone uses over their intimate partner. So this can look very different in a lot of different ways. For example, there's emotional abuse that can look like humiliation, putting down, making someone feel less than. There's financial abuse when someone decides where you spend your money, how often you work. There's also the forms of stalking or even cyberbullying. These are absolutely forms of abuse. I think especially in this digital age where a lot of your lives had to transfer on to the internet, you know, you guys have had this unique experience of being in high school during a pandemic. So the idea that so much of your lives is on social media and you communicate through text, you know, it adds a whole other layer of what abuse can look like over the internet. And I think it has played a bigger role. So these are just some general ideas of what dating violence can look like, but it can take a lot of different forms.
Caroline, you led me right down into the next point here.
Oh, did I?
For all three of you, what role does social media play in your relationships? Dating relationships, right? Okay, if if you don't want to talk about your dating relationships, all of your relationships, right? So what role does social media play in your relationships, period, good or bad? Let's start with Suhan. We'll go Suhan, Indy, Lily.
Okay. Well, I'll preface this with the fact that I don't really do social media. I have one like high level social media account, and it's my Instagram account, and it's literally my name. I don't have a profile picture, and the whole account is private without a single
Love it.
So the most I use that account for is like texting my friends and then sending them like the little 15-second reels of stuff that I thought was funny.
Right.
But what I can say is the stuff that I do see on social media, the content that I do see on social media, sometimes makes me lose my faith in humanity. It's just I feel like, and this leads into a bit of a different conversation about echo chambers, but I'll just say that sometimes you see certain things of a certain like scenario that just keeps on repeating over and over again, and you feel like that is the only truth in the world, and you have to like work hard to remind yourself that maybe that isn't always the truth, and you have to go and look for other opinions and other points of view so that you can understand that maybe what you are seeing isn't always the truth. So
I find like we're seeing content all the time of showing what life should be like, day in the life of the celebrity. And you're like, you're right. It's like my life is nothing like this, but I'm seeing it all the time. Content is constantly being thrown at me. And it's hard to recognize, take that step back saying, it's okay. My life looks a little different than this.
Mm.
I also think that that expectation of like people with relationships on the internet, like you're seeing the parts that people are choosing to post, which is the very glamorous, like pretty side of relationships. And you're never, sometimes you are, but it's important to take a step back and look at real relationships. And yes, that ties into
the hard work that comes with that too.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are giving some sage advice, man. Indy, what you got?
I was going to say that it really depends on how you use social media. That can make it a positive or negative experience towards your relationship. Like everyone said, it's not really a lot of truth on social media. Like you can set an image for what your relationship is, sharing everything that's good and bad. But then after that, it takes a lot to really show the negativity. And I see people coming out on Instagram, creating like an anonymous account, posting about their story, about the abuse they would go through. And within the comments, they receive a lot of support and a lot of guidance from different people. And so that could be one way that social media has a positive light in ensuring and showing your side of the story, and then also receiving support from other people online.
You guys are giving some sage advice that I think a lot of people can just absorb and internalize, whether it relates to teen dating violence, and it has a broader impact on just how we all view and internalize the social media that we do see, as it relates to our relationships, friendships, or otherwise, or the other side, just general relationships. Leanne, I have a question for Caroline about red flags, but I want to also throw out, Leanne asked, how do you guys communicate with teens at your high school about getting more involved? And so again, I thought I promised you guys that I wouldn't ask all of you these questions, but y'all are so insightful that I want to get all of your feedback on everything all the time. So this time, the order will go Indy, Lily, Suhas. How do you guys communicate with teens at your high school about getting more involved?
So getting more involved. So recently, we had for October, we've had a day where different students within the advisory council we promoted within our own school about wearing purple for wearing like a purple shirt or something that's purple on October to signify like dating violence and just bringing in more awareness to people. So for me, what I did was I created a poster about the event and information about the event, how, you know, we need to wear purple and why we need to wear purple, and about the Teen Dating Advisory Board. And so through creating that flyer, I sent it out through the different clubs that I was in, which would have been like Beta Club and then Earth Tomorrow. And because I was a virtual student, I could not go to school. So that's why I chose to promote through these clubs and then having them promote throughout the school. And so with that, furthermore, the clubs, they took it further, you know, to encourage more students to do that by allowing students to get volunteer hours, for example, to wear a shirt, or to promote more throughout to their friends and stuff, because it's one big community and we're all looking towards raising awareness, and this comfortability that we're creating within our school hopefully will encourage more students to, you know, really normalize the topic of dating violence and see that other students in their school and the teachers themselves are supporting this and raising awareness towards it.
Awesome. I forgot the order, so you guys just jump in.
Go for it.
On a less grand scale than that, I talk about this all the time to anyone who will listen. I cross-stage teach for a bunch of 5th and 6th graders, and we have girl talk, so I love to talk to them about healthy relationships and just really prepare them for going into middle school and beyond. And I also just talk about it to my friends and peers anytime they'll listen. I just love to spread awareness, because even if they're not super invested in the moment, if down the line they realize that I'm there for them and I'm like in this space and I really do care, like, to help them, we might be able to have a conversation, or even beyond that.
Yeah, you know, my experience talking about, you know, what makes a healthy relationship is somewhat similar to Lily, where, you know, me and my friends and a lot of my classmates have just been talking about what we expect our futures to look like, right? You know, we're at that point in our lives as seniors, going into college, applying to college, choosing where we want to go, figuring out how we're going to pay for it all. We're at that point where we're starting to have to make a lot of tough decisions, and those decisions are going to have to come, you know, somewhat quickly. And you know, as we, you know, talk about what we want to do and where we want to go, part of what we talk about is the sort of relationships we want to pursue, not just particularly romantic relationships, but, you know, relationships as friends, acquaintances, and what makes those relationships healthy as well, right? And even though it's just me and a couple of people, opinions spread, and just being able to sit there and think and reminisce about what the past looked like and what the future will look like for us is, you know, a good way to get your thoughts together about the sort of people we want to be and how we want to treat others and how we want others to treat us. So I think
it's that ripple effect. It's that you are able to open the conversation with one other person, and then that one person takes it a step further and goes to their club, and then we have a whole community of people working on this. So you're absolutely right. All three of you guys kind of said a lot of things of being able to talk to others, and then by doing that, we're having this conversation. I think it's super awesome.
I'm telling you, I'll be honest with you. You know, there's probably some parents on the other side crying because they didn't know that you guys were so in depth, and just the breadth of knowledge that each one of you guys brings to this conversation. I said it earlier, you guys are supremely impressive as it relates to this conversation. And so again, kudos to y'all, man, for just being amazing and awesome. I don't know how to ask this next question, and so this may take me a second, but you guys are all teens, and what do you want parents to know about, how do we have this conversation with our teenagers that are in our lives about healthy relationships? how do we bring this to you guys and say, hey, Lily, let's sit down and have a conversation, right? I'm mom, I'm dad. How do I sit down, all the three? How do I sit down with y'all as a parent or as a loved one and have a conversation with you guys about what a healthy relationship looks like? So maybe Lily, Suhas, Indy, boom, in that order. You guys remember that because I won't remember in 5 minutes.
Well, I think that a lot of parents might just assume that if their relationship is healthy, their kids might just automatically absorb all that and know perfectly how to navigate dating and all of that, which isn't necessarily the case. And so I think that one of the best ways to like have a conversation is just to talk with your child about what they expect and how they expect to be treated, and tell them, hey, it's okay to set boundaries, and like if someone's not willing to respect you for who you are and what you want to be respected as, it's not worth it. And it's okay to break up with someone, and it's okay to not have a relationship that works out, because I feel as though, maybe this is just my area, a lot of people are really afraid to like have relationships be seen as failures, and that can lead to a lot of kind of icky situations.
Yeah.
And I think that if parents could just be upfront and let kids know not every relationship's gonna work out, but you have to know your value, and it will be hard sometimes, that it could really, really help.
Yeah, going off of what Lily said, it's really important to, like set those ideals of what a relationship should be. And I think something that's very important to remember is that a conversation is discourse between two people. And this is a bit of an embarrassing topic, right? Talking about romantic relationships and what your future will look like and what the people in your life will look like. It's a little bit embarrassing. So, if you're just going to take your kid and, force them to sit down and start talking with them about this, that's not a conversation. That's a lecture, I feel like.
Right.
And so I think the important thing here is to sort of like ease into it, right? Eventually, there's going to be a point in time where your kid is going to start talking about what their future, what they want it to look like. And as you start talking about how they can get towards that future and setting goals for that future, you can ease in conversation about what their relationship should look like as they're working towards their goals and, what they want to be in the future. So.
In having a conversation with your child about dating violence, or I guess just the relationships in general, I really think that you should not jump to conclusions as a parent, and just be a good listener to your child. Maybe support looking at the issue at an objective way, not really like just looking at it objectively, along with like what Lily said with knowing your boundaries. I think it's really important to not make excuses for other people. Like, for example, if your partner is taking your phone, checking your DMs and emails, it should not be an excuse for them to for you to agree that you can check my emails, you can check my DMs because I have nothing to hide. Like you don't really need to make an excuse for that, because that is unacceptable for someone to look at your personal belongings. And if you stop making excuses for yourself, or just encourage your child to learn their boundaries and not accept these excuses, it can be really important to teach them on like a bigger realm, aside from like just dating in general, and just never accept anyone's excuses and know what your worth is.
Yes, ma'am.
Man, y'all, if y'all don't listen to Andy on this thing, let me tell you something.
Y'all
Andy,
are killing it.
It's gems from Andy. Y'all better listen to Andy. I promise y'all we were only going to do this for 30 minutes. Can I have one more question from each one of you? Can do I get one more?
Absolutely.
Can I have grace? Thank you. All right. So Caroline, I feel like, we kind of left you 4 questions ago. So let's bring Caroline back in here. What are some red flags as it relates to healthy relationships or not unhealthy relationships, I'll say, what are some red flags we've just normalized?
Absolutely. Yeah. So thinking about, we see a lot of things on social media, on TV, where things are okay. For example, making fun of your partner, pushing your partner around, play fighting is really common and sometimes if it's consensual, it's okay, but making sure that that doesn't go too far, or at least the one person isn't feeling like it's too much. There's also thinking about, making excuses, like Andy said, like, well, they just do this because they love me so much. Well, they bought me flowers to apologize, so I forgave them. Being able to recognize your own worth, knowing your values, can help you avoid these things. Trying to think of some other red flags. Yeah, people looking through your phone is bad. You want to make sure that you have good boundaries on that, where you are setting, you can look at my photos, but you can't look at my text messages. We're letting people know what it's okay and what's not okay. Also thinking about any other red flags. I don't know. Is any of you guys have anything you want to add to that? Go for it, Lily.
I think that sometimes the normalization of dating violence in shows that's both shown to be bad, but also kind of just brushed over. And I'm mostly talking about a show that's streaming on HBO Max right now.
Name it.
Euphoria.
Because it's crazy.
So just like the fact that something that's so clearly physical dating violence can happen, and then later on it just becomes kind of an, oh, will they get back together? Da 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 da. I think that the while it's shown as bad, there are still aspects of the show that glamorize it, which is not good. And also, I think that yeah.
Awesome.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, Lily, I'm telling you, y'all are all like boom, boom, boom. It's like I've honestly never watched Euphoria. But one of the things that is, as it pops up on my social feed, I'm like, yo, like this isn't healthy. I mean, we could have a whole conversation on Euphoria. Maybe we'll do that on another day. But I go ahead. No, jump in.
People like, it's a beautifully produced show, and so I don't know if people take the time to dig deeper than the visuals of it and realize that, hey, this relationship, even though it's two attractive people and it like might show it to be bad, you can't like you it's unhealthy, and you can't just brush that off, because things like that can leach into your expectations of relationships and understanding of how you deserve to be treated. And yeah.
So as we close this thing out, I want to see, Natalie said yes, Lily. So as we close this thing out, I want to ask each one of you guys, this is just more of a perspective question, just to gather your insights or gather your advice. As you think through your time on this board, on the Teen Advisory Board, and just your own life experiences, I would love for each one of you guys to just give us the one thing you want other teenagers to know about healthy relationships. You can give it to parents, you can give it to teenagers. What's the one thing that you want people to know about healthy relationships? And that'll be what each one of you, Caroline, Lily, Suhas, Indy, I want all of you guys to answer. What's that one thing that you want parents or teenagers to know about healthy/unhealthy relationships?
All right, I'll go first.
Perfect.
So I want everyone to know that it's okay to make mistakes, and we are imperfect people. So knowing that just because we realize that maybe I was doing something unhealthy, maybe I wasn't the kindest person in the past, doesn't mean that you can't change and that you can't learn from your mistakes. So being able to say, take a step back, recognize when you are wrong, and owning up to it, taking responsibility for your actions and doing better. So that's what I would say.
Love it. Lily, let's just go to you. You're next.
Boundaries. It's okay to have boundaries. That's something that I've always struggled with. And like, I'm an introverted person, and I get really drained really easily. And through talking about this, I realized that it's okay to like set those boundaries, and a great partner will respect them. And yeah, it's okay to have limits, and it's okay to like say, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, you can't do that. Yeah.
No is a complete sentence.
Yes.
Yes.
Lily, I
No.
love your energy.
Thank you.
Hey, Suhas, what about you, man? We'll go Suhas and then we'll end with Indy.
I feel like it's been said time and time again, but I'll say it again because it is so important. Communication. I mean, marriage, dating, friendship, it's all a social device that we came up with as human beings, as social beings. And being social is just a function of communication, right? And so if you're not communicating, you're coming to conclusions, like just making conclusions without communicating with your partner is one of the biggest failings of relationships in my mind. And if you feel that there's a lack of communication or perhaps too much communication, that very problem can be solved by communication. You have to communicate with your partner and set those boundaries, like Lily said, to understand where the relationship starts and where it ends. Because you won't even know what the relationship itself is without communication.
Yes.
So communication is key.
Yes, absolutely.
Indy, man, take us home, man.
Just stemming off from communication, consent, practicing it just every chance that you get, parents, seeing your parents practicing asking consent, like asking their child for consent, just that whole action itself grows in you. Like when you're seeing someone do it, you want to do it too because you want to do the right thing. They're like your role models. So with consent, the more you do it, the more you practice it, the more you kind of show your community, the people around you, how important it is. And that is an important way to protect yourself and to protect others, and to take charge of setting your boundaries.
Yes.
I love it. Hey, so I'll close us out on this one. I feel like there has to be a part 2 to this conversation. Like you guys did an amazing job. All of you guys are back. Like, we'll do this sometime soon.
Yeah.
Caroline, let's get it on their calendars. I think we need to have the advisory board back.
They're busy, but I'll contact their people.
I need schedules cleared for this, right? Schedules cleared. The audience is demanding part 2 of this conversation. So we need to get this on the calendar. You guys did an amazing job. I'd share this platform with you guys any day y'all want to come back. You just let us know. We will do this again. Really quickly, what do you guys want to do next? Right? Like Lily, you're a senior. Indy, you're a junior. Suhas, you're a senior. What's next for each one of you guys?
I'd really love to get into college. That would be great.
That'd be nice.
Where do you want to go?
Unclear. I have a whole bunch of applications in, and we're seeing what comes up.
Fingers crossed, right? Hey, be open to where the universe takes you.
Totally. And then hopefully become an OBGYN someday.
Come on, I love it. Indy, what about you? You're a junior, but I know you're wise beyond your years. Like, what's next for you?
Well, after I graduate high school, I want to go into college for nursing.
Awesome.
Woo-hoo!
Suhas, what about you, brother? What's next?
I'm also into medicine. So, college, and then rural medicine is something that's very close to my heart. One of my side projects through high school has been developing a heart attack prediction device with a peer, and that was a lot of fun. And part of that was to get those people in rural areas who might have heart problems to bigger hospitals in big cities where they can get the treatment they need before it's too late, because, small rural hospitals don't always have the tools they need.
Yep.
Entire counties in Georgia don't even have physicians. So
Exactly.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Suhas, what you're bringing up here is an equity and access conversation that is much
our future
broader.
leaders right here.
That's it. That's it. We're talking about equity and access. and I appreciate each one of you guys for being thought leaders in the areas that are excessive that you're passionate about. And I have no doubt in my mind that you guys will do tremendous things with your life. And again, as we get ready to close this conversation, I want each one of you guys to know that as an organization, if there's something that we can do for you to progress your passions and your missions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You guys are immensely awesome, and you're great advocates for this mission. So I want to let the audience know, if you got something from today's conversation, please hit that share button. I get it. All of you guys have liked the feed today, but share it with somebody and really be intentional about tagging somebody who really needs to hear this conversation. I think it's been amazing. Our teen advisory board members have done an amazing job. We are accepting applications for our advisory board. And so I will encourage you guys to visit our website. I think you click on dating violence at the top, drop down menu to advisory board application. It's not long. You can submit it. Probably takes you less than 10 minutes. Maybe I'm exaggerating on the time that it takes you to do it, but it's not that bad. If it's important to you, you'll knock it out. So again, I thank you, each one of you guys. Please join us. We will not be live next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, we're going to be talking about, we're going to have a conversation with two folks who are doing prevention work on a college campus. So we're going to round out the conversation. Last week, we had a conversation with the high school counselor. This week, obviously, you guys have been a part of our conversation with teens. Next week, we're going to have in 2 weeks, we're going to have a conversation with folks on a college campus doing advocacy work. So we're going to round out dating violence that way. I hope you
February
guys enjoyed
28th.
Thank you, because
Yes.
you know I would miss that. Hey, Caroline, real quick before we bounce, give a plug for Teen Summit.
Yeah, absolutely. So on April 23rd, we are going to have our Teen Summit. It's going to be a full day full of workshops, full of guest speakers, people from our community. We're going to be talking about teen dating violence. We're going to be talking about healthy relationships, self-care, and our theme is authentic like me and courageous enough to be myself. And that is a theme that y'all came up with as the advisory board. Our advisory board is helping us create, the event all along the way. They should hopefully be guest speakers. So be there. You do not want to miss it.
Awesome. Hey, again, thank you guys. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Lily, Suhas, Indy. You guys are all amazing. We appreciate all of you guys for watching today. And if you have any questions or any concerns, please, you can send us a direct message and we will get it in the hands of those who need it. And if you are in need of our services, you can call our crisis line. And that number is 404-873-1766, 404-873-1766. Thank you all so much. You guys have been an amazing guests, and we hope that the folks watching today got something out of the conversation. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.